Aquaculture Sytems Part 2 Nutrient Film Technique NFT. This framework is presumably the most least difficult of any aquaculture framework. It doesn't include the utilization of clocks to turn siphons now and again. The seeds should be spread first in a different plate until they have an adequate root base to be put in the framework. How can it function? The gear comprises of long shallow plate which accompany a long cover keeping the framework encased. There are patterns in the cover, which is where the plants are set. The plant sits in a plastic pot with cuts to permit the roots to develop through them. They seem to be a more modest form of the internal pot utilized in flood and channel frameworks. The plate are set over a water tank and a siphon associated toward one side to siphon water into the plate. There ought to be a decent inclination in the plate with the goal that the water streams down the plate and back into the water tank. Commonly the angles utilized are 130 or 140. This stops water pooling in the discouragements brought about by lopsided surfaces and roots. The thought is that the foundations of the plants are persistently washed in a supplement-rich water supply and produce solid, straight developing plants. The name supplement film is concerning the slender film of roots that will ultimately shape on the lower part of the plate. It should be an exceptionally shallow stream of water with just the foundation of the roots lowered. This permits the remainder of the root to be available to the air and get the fundamental oxygen expected for development. The frameworks come in various lengths, which can hold various quantities of plants. Basically, you can have any length of NFT framework, but the more drawn out the framework, the more opportunity that stream may be interfered. Frameworks longer than 12 meters will generally get less development in plants towards the end because of the supplements and the water being taken up by the plants nearer to the repository. Anyway, this issue can be overwhelmed by setting up another water supply along the length of the channel. Issues. I have referenced several issues with NFT frameworks, for example, pooling of water and supplement decrease in the water in lengthy framework setups. Anyway, there are a couple more. Siphon breakdown. As NFT frameworks just require a little, shallow water conveyance, the siphons utilized are not extremely strong. They are likewise on all of the time, implying that they get a ton of activity throughout the develop. This combined with conceivable salt precipitation from the broke-up supplements, particularly in hard water regions, truly intends that sooner or later the siphon is probably going to separate. In the event that you can get this rapidly then separated from the expense of another siphon, there is no genuine issue to the plants. Anyway, assuming this slips through the cracks, it implies that the roots will dry out rapidly and this will influence development. Illness. The plant establishes are continually lowered in water and this can prompt bacterial contaminations, for example, Pythium. Pythium is also called root decay and can demolish your yields in the event that it isn't distinguished early. There are items available that can destroy this, assuming you are sufficiently unfortunate to get it. However, the most ideal way is counteraction. This can be accomplished by changing the water repository intermittently and adding protection-added substances to the supplement arrangement. Steadiness. Weighty organic product yielding plants can become shaky in an NFT framework. This is because of the roots becoming long and level and not having a lot of procurement. This makes the plant become awkward and they drop out of the plate. Not great. This can be overwhelmed by supporting the plants by utilizing yo-yos, string, or sticks. This will give a solidness to the plant and permit it to keep developing and proving to be fruitful without bringing down. Run down. Indeed, even with the issues referenced over, these frameworks are an extraordinary method for exhibiting the utilization of tank farming. They are an uncostly framework and extraordinary to use as a prologue to developing your own produce at home. Sarah possesses and maintains her own tank farming supplies business. This has outgrown her affection for developing her own leafy foods at home. For more